Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll take you on an exciting cruise adventure with Royal Caribbean, where we explore Roatan, Honduras, Belize, Cozumel, Mexico, and Cococay, Bahamas. Stay tuned to discover life on the ship and see what exciting excursions we did. Don't forget to subscribe for more travel inspiration. Let's dive in. We're at the airport now. These little lights on the ceiling are so fun. After waiting in line to check our bags, we were able to board on time. And Delta's my favorite because of the little screens they have on the back of each seat. I ended up watching iCarly while enjoying the little cookies they have and coffee they hand out mid-flight. We actually had a layover in Atlanta. Their airport was huge. We had to hop on a SkyTrain to reach our next gate. That flight took us down to Fort Lauderdale, where we took a bus to get to the cruise port. After we got checked in by the cruise ship officials, this was our first look at the boat, and wow, the interior was so beautiful. I love the accent lighting. We went to find our room. They had everyone's suitcase lined outside the doors. We got our key, and here is a little room tour for you. The bathroom was good size, but the shower was a little small. Our room had a TV. This is our bed. And I love the view that we had from our room. We could see onto the main part of the ship, so that was super helpful when big events were going on. We could see how busy everything was. This is us in that main part, and then we went up and watched the ship sail away from the dock. If you are planning on going on a Royal Caribbean cruise, I would definitely recommend buying a drink package. I think we just did the regular soda one, but you get a special cup and you can refill it an unlimited amount of times during your cruise. And as you saw from that last clip, they do have a casino on board. Don't forget your spending money. Most of our time on the first day was spent exploring the ship. I eventually discovered my favorite bathroom. Check out the view in here. You can see so far into the distance. Now, after talking about the bathroom, I'm gonna hop over to what we had for dinner. Shrimp as an entree, steak for dinner, and a chocolate custard for dessert. After dinner, we watched the storm roll in. On top of the ship, they do have a full-size basketball court as well as a mini golf course. The next day, I got some avocado toast and this croissant for breakfast. They were so good. Housekeeping surprised us with this little towel pet. Later on, we registered for bingo. Unfortunately, we did not win despite having all these sheets to keep track of. I also made an appointment at their spa because they had a special going on for a full body massage with a face mask. The environment was so relaxing, I almost fell asleep. After I got out of my appointment, the sky was looking super pretty, so of course I had to take a video. Then I went down to dinner. This was the menu for tonight, and for dessert I had creme brulee as well as a chocolate cake. The next morning was day 3. We started out with some fruit and French toast as we had arrived in Roatan, Honduras, and we're ready to get our day started. We made our way over to the buses to get to our excursion. The locals were super friendly. They actually ended up giving us a $1 bill each as well as a coin to keep. As we drove to the excursion, I got a little glimpse into what life was like in Roatan as we passed by some of their homes, shops, and communal areas. Once we got to the excursion site, we all boarded onto this submarine here. The submarine had a glass bottom, so there were plenty of windows so everyone could have a view out to see the coral reefs. And if you didn't know, Roatan is actually home to the second largest barrier reef in the world. Our tour guide was super helpful throughout the entire journey. She talked so much about the different kinds of coral, as well as the different kinds of wildlife that we saw. We also spotted a few divers along the way. Once back on land, they took us by one of their gift shops where they had some super cute postcards, wind chimes, and so much more. I also ended up trying this beer, which is the most popular one in Honduras. We visited a few more shops up by the ship and even stopped to get these cute pineapple drinks. They also had an area where you could get your passport stamp, so we made sure to do that as well. We had one last look at the port and we boarded back on the ship. Tonight's entertainment was this fun ice skating show. On day 4, we went to Belize. We had to take a smaller ship out from our cruise ship to get to the port. This was an 8-hour excursion. We took a bus, then got on this hand-cranked ferry where we take another bus up to the Zunantunich Mayan ruins, which is home to the second tallest structure in Belize, where you can see Guatemala from the lookout point. Some of these steps were pretty steep, so don't forget to pack your walking shoes and a poncho in case it rains. Our tour guide was super informational and helped us understand so much more about these ruins. We then headed back into town to grab a little bite to eat. This was honestly one of my favorite meals of the whole week. Once back to the ship and our room, we were surprised by another towel pet. As we sailed away, we got to see all these white patches, which were the different sections of the coral reef. This was tonight's menu. Each of these courses were so delicious, especially the tiramisu. We also got to see the Jersey Boys performer Travis Clower. If you ever get the chance to see him perform, you need to take it. We're now on day 5. We've docked in Cozumel, Mexico. This was by far one of my favorite destinations. Everything here was so beautiful and vibrant, including their ocean. To drive jimneys, which are like jeeps, over to our first excursion where we snorkeled with sharks, stingrays, and other fish. I could have snorkeled here for hours. I loved watching the sharks and stingrays pass on by. I ended up finding this little starfish and even had a stingray swim towards me, which I thought was kind of cool, maybe a little scary. Our second destination was a cenote. I had so much fun driving this little car. The roads were so bumpy to get back to our destination. This was a sulfur cenote, so that's why it has that green tint to it. There were also plenty of bats here, and if you've ever smelled sulfur before, you know this was not a great smell. But hey, it was still beautiful to look at. And as you can see here, the water is actually crystal clear. We also got the chance to jump into the water, which was quite a thrill. For our next destination, we went to this beach resort. Their water here was crystal clear, and this next building made me feel like I was living in Barbie World. After that, we concluded our day in Mexico and headed back onto the ship. This night, we were having a groovy 80s party. We all showed off our best dance moves and even ended up joining a conga line. Day 6 was a travel day. We tried out the water slides for the first time, and they also had a flow rider, which I would have loved to try out. I got a cute little drink and spent the rest of the day tanning by the pool. Tonight was a formal night, so I got my Skims dress and put on some makeup and fixed up my hair. This was the menu. I ended up having lobster, steak. For dessert, I had baked Alaska, which I've never had before. It's ice cream, sponge cake, and caramelized meringue. Definitely recommend. We took our nightly stroll around the ship, got ready for bed, and got a good night's rest for our last day on the cruise. For day 7, we were finally in Cococay, Bahamas. We booked a kayaking excursion in the ocean, and unfortunately, we did end up flipping. Other than that part, it was super fun. We then went snorkeling in another part of the island where we found this piece of abandoned shipwreck. I won't tell you where it is though. You'll have to find that one yourself. Oh, and did I mention there's little jellyfish in the water? For lunch, we kept it pretty simple. We stopped by a little shack and grabbed burgers. Afterwards, we explored the island. I came across an island library as well as this area of hammocks. From afar, you can see what their water park looks like, and on the way back to the ship, we passed this super cool sand artwork. Once we got back on the ship, we discovered that Peekaboo Bridge was open, which lets you see down into the captain's area. For our last dinner, I had lamb and this amazing brownie combo. As we sailed back towards Fort Lauderdale, we saw all the other ships in the distance. Day 7 finally arrived, and it was time to check out and go home. Thank you guys so much for watching.